Jon, we're here to reflect on the last couple of days that we spent at the UK Metals Expo, having done the preamble in a recent edition of Speaking of Steel. How have you found the last 2 days? It's pretty relentless, isn't it, as an event?
I think it's been a really good event, though. Not just on the MEPS stand, but the event in general has been absolutely fantastic. It's really great to get the whole industry together, all in one room. Everybody seems to be just a little bit more positive about these things. They seem to be very keen to not just show you what they're doing, but also try and find out what you're doing as well. It's a really great place to share information.
There's lots of content, people from all sorts of elements of the supply chain getting up on stage and sharing their insight. But of course, we introduced the fact that MEPS were doing a carbon steel debate, stainless steel debate. I think we'll first reflect on yesterday's carbon steel debate. I mean, I thought that was a great conversation, great panel, and representing two sides of a really interesting debate at the moment.
It was. I was there. I watched it. It was fantastic. I don't think it was necessarily just two sides. I think we had four people on the panel, and they all had very strong opinions, and they were all very happy to share those opinions.
It was focused on trade defence largely.
So that was one part of it. Obviously, yes. If you want to split things down, then it's the producers in the UK versus the importers bringing stuff into the UK, and it was a very nice, easy way to sort of split things up. But we also had a trader on there who was just trying to sort of get the best price, no matter where this steel's coming from. And Kay Ayub, our head of price and forecasting, has spent a lot of time and effort getting these panels together, and it really shows. It was a very good panel.
Yeah, and the attendance as well was as good as we've seen in any of the seminars over the 2 days. Really encouraging. Today we had the stainless steel. Different market entirely. Surprisingly, really, a lot of talk about CBAM, but that seemed to be the focus there.
Well, CBAM. It's been the talk of not just that panel, but literally, it's been the thing that everybody's been talking about for the past couple of days. But yes, the stainless steel panel, another one that's Kay's really tried to get a wide range of views in these panels. She really wants to sort of reflect how the market is at the moment. Very much similar to how we do our pricing information in the monthly reports. Just trying to get everybody's view and then come along and try and put that all together into something that's sensible and sort of packageable for our customers. And that's exactly what happened on the panel. Another one that was really, really good.
I think the interesting thing is people, depending on what part of the supply chain they come from, are considering how the UK sectors can be competitive. And whether that comes from protecting UK steelmaking or importing cheap feedstock for end users, which keeps manufacturing competitive. It's a fascinating debate.
So that was one of the things that we heard right at the very start of the event. The UK market, around about 70% of the steel that's sold here is imported from outside the country. So you can't just talk about producers on their own. You've got to be talking about importers. And with it being such a large proportion, you've got to have their views heard. And I think certainly over the past sort of year or two, they've kind of got to this situation where they're really worried that they aren't being listened to. Certainly with the changes that we had to the safeguards announced just a few months ago, there was a lot of backlash there as a large proportion of people thought they just weren't being listened to.
Well, on the stage that we find ourselves on now, a little earlier today, there was a really interesting debate also, not involving anyone from MEPS, surprisingly.
Yep.
But, I mean, we had someone from HM Treasury who'd been consulting largely on the rollout of CBAM. He was talking about CBAM for the EU and the UK. But what were some of your key takeaways from that? Because you're so used to talking about this subject now.
So that was another really good talk, and it was really valuable hearing the opinion and the information directly from the source, from the people who are actually going to be setting these rules up and managing these schemes. I think there's been a lot of confusion about CBAM and exactly how it's being implemented. And I think that confusion comes from sort of three main factors. First of all, there's a big change coming, and it's very difficult to try and explain this and boil this down in sort of simple language. There's also, it's been very difficult to communicate this to people. So it means that with all the latest updates happening, trying to keep on top of those has become very difficult. And then finally, with regards to updates, there's still bits of it that have yet to be decided. There's still a large part of CBAM that's yet to be decided. So to get somebody from Treasury to come down and actually give that opinion from the source was really useful. I think the crowd here were really rapt.
What was really apparent, and it's not surprising really, was that they were watching how the European Commission had rolled out things so far, and there's so much learning to be had from that process, isn't there?
So the two schemes are going to be running side by side with each other. The UK scheme is going to be coming in a little bit later, so the UK is perhaps sort of a step behind the European system. But what that does mean is they can see how it's been implemented in Europe and try and tweak it and change it and simplify it. And that's what I think the extra year that with the UK starting in the start of 27, that extra year is really going to give them a chance to sort of make this a system that's going to work.
So I think one of the things we said when we were doing our pre-event episode of Speaking of Steel was we said that this was going to be a listening and learning event. I think that was your phrase.
Yes.
I mean, do you think that's been the case? You must have spoken to a lot of people on the MEPS stand over the last couple of days.
The MEPS stand has been jam-packed, and for every person we're speaking to, that we're giving answers to, we're also asking questions. It's the nature of our business. We need to know what you know, just as much as we want to share what we know. Having those people come to the stand, having those relationships is really important for us. So yeah, it's been another fantastic 2 days.
And we're coming into event season now, really, across Europe. We've got big events coming up that members of the MEPS team will be attending. Do you think that's important for the market? We do sometimes hear that, you know, these sorts of events can stimulate a little bit of activity. It's hard to believe that's the case with how it was such a low ebb that the market's at right now. But I guess there is some positive sentiment in the room nonetheless.
There is. It's been a very tricky year as well. And events like this, they do bring everybody together. They drive that positivity. And I'm sure there are people today here that have made deals. And if they haven't made deals, they'll have arranged those calls so they can close those deals. Yes, events like this are incredibly important. Great stuff. Well, it's been great to be here with you and just move around and learn a bit ourselves. 2 days here stuck with me. Yeah, great fun. Until the next episode of Speaking of Steel, Jon, we'll leave it there. Thank you. Thanks a lot.